So while I was putting together this video, I noticed that I'm a bit of a Logitech stan, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how it happened. I have a lot of Logitech stuff. I have two keyboards, one G915 TKL, the wireless one I use on my HTPC. I have another one back there on my normal gaming PC, the G815. I like them both a lot. I have two of these G604 mouses. This one's for my desktop, mice. And the other one I leave at work because I'm a big fan. I even have a G305, and I don't even know where this one came from. I found it in my desk at the office. I don't know when I bought it. I don't even know how it came to be mine, but it was in my desk, buried away. I am missing the dongle, so maybe that explains why I forgot I had it. I even have the G923 TrueForce steering wheel that I use with like Dirt 2.0 for my racing sims and VR, and I bought even the TrueForce shifter for it, which all work fantastic. And I also have two G935s, and these ones hurt. These ones hurt a little bit more. And yeah, I know, when I say all that out loud, it's very strange how I ended up with all this. I've never been sponsored by Logitech or anything like that. I've bought all this over time, but as I say them all out loud, I feel like I should have like one of their GeForce jackets that I sleep in, like some sort of clown. But like I said, I have two G935s, not because I want to, because I had to. This one was the OG, or this one of the two. It doesn't matter at this point. But this one, let's say this was the OG, and I love it. I think this thing fits well. It's a bit creaky and feels a little cheap, but it fit nice. The sound was good with the EQ setting that I had. I was pretty happy with this. And then one day, while gaming, I noticed that the right earpiece kind of started to sound a bit quieter than the left side. Over time, it just got worse and worse, and I would notice that eventually the sound would just cut out in the right side, and I have to give my earphones a good old smackaroo, and then it would pop back up. But I reached out to Logitech because I figured that was not the intended operating process of these headphones, and I used their warranty service to get a new set. They sent me a new one. To their credit, they let me keep the old ones, even though they don't work. But I used these ones, and not even a year later, the same exact thing started to happen. The right side slowly started to sound like I was underwater. And being that I've been here before, I gave it a quick smack. We're back in the game, but it's very distracting when you're playing like an FPS or really any game, and your left or your right channel just completely cuts out. It's not ideal. So rather than call Logitech and be like, hey, you remember those headphones that you sent me to replace the ones that broke? Yeah, they're doing the same exact thing. It was time to move on. Even though I'm a Logitech fanboy, at least in the non-headphone department, I didn't want to go through this again. And I know Logitech has other headphones. They have higher end ones, lower end ones, and maybe some of the other ones work better or sound better. But I felt a little betrayed. So it was time to move on. So I did what anybody does. I went to Google and I typed in, what is the best gaming headset of 2024? And I decided I would do what the internet told me. And that's when I noticed something a bit sus. I noticed this weird pattern that every single top 10 list or our best pick for gaming headphones, they all had one headset at well, normally it was like the best overall, or at least it was on the top 5. These are the Arctis Nova Pro Wireless, and supposedly these are the best headphones ever to exist. I'm a simple man, so the first thing, are they comfortable? I, for one, hate it when my ears touch the inside of the ear cup, and for the most part, these are pretty good. Now, I do notice that my left ear touches just a little bit at the top, but looking at these and noticing that they're symmetric, that just might be a me problem. But for the most part, these are pretty comfortable. They're pretty lightweight. And I really like this headband. Now, anybody that has a bald head will know that us baldies destroy every single thing that touches our head. You should see the headphones at my desk at work. They're slowly being eaten away by every single last follicle that I have that's holding on for dear life. And I know it's going to eventually happen to these, but this headband is easily replaceable. And like the name says, these headphones are wireless. They get their signal from this little base station that has 2 inputs for a USB, so you can have your PC and maybe another PC or some other USB device. You also have a line in and line out for a 2.5 millimeter jack. And most importantly, and something I really enjoy, considering that when I was using my G935s, I would always run into the problem where I would forget to plug these in after using them, only to come back downstairs the next day and find that they were, dead. And then you'd have to use them with the wire plugged in there, and then your headphones that are normally wireless become wired. With the Nova Pro wirelesses, you can just hot swap the battery as soon as it dies, and there's always one charged and ready to go right there in your base station. Now, this headset does have active noise canceling, which is actually pretty nice to have on a gaming headset. The G935s obviously didn't come with that feature.
The microphone is nice. It's well concealed. It comes out, it goes in very nicely, and it sounds just as good as you would expect a gaming headset microphone to sound. It's not overly amazing, but it's definitely not the worst I've heard.
As for the sound quality of the headphones themselves, to be honest, when I first put them on, I was a bit underwhelmed, to say the least. Now, I had a custom EQ put on my G935s, which made them sound pretty good in my opinion, but these ones just didn't have the same feel, the same bass to them. Really, I didn't think they sounded as good as the G935s right out of the box. Now, I did find after messing around with it a little bit, the headset's mic has a light pass-through set in the audio settings right out of the box, which I absolutely hate. I understand the purpose of it. You want to be able to hear yourself talk so you don't talk over your teammates, but when you're just playing by yourself and you can kind of hear the world around you played through your headset a microsecond later than normal, it's a bit jarring to me, but once I found the setting and was able to turn that off, the sound quality went up a lot. Now, my G935s, like we talked about, are dead, so I decided to compare the sound of this headphone to my WH-1000X4Ms from Sony, which are my Bluetooth headphones that I use for listening to music and stuff like that. Now, the sound that comes out of the Nova Pro Wireless isn't as good as the Sonys, which is to be expected. These are a gaming headset. The Sonys are a dedicated headphone made for music, and they sound absolutely phenomenal if you've ever used them. But they're pretty close. Where these fall short is mostly in the mid tones, I feel. I thought they sounded relatively similar, but when it got to the vocals and the mid levels, these sounded a bit more muddy to me. These aren't in any way bad, in my opinion. They're just not as good as something like that. In game, I thought that these sounded actually very good. They were much clearer than the G935s, even though I didn't think they maybe had as much bass as the G935s did. But considering these are broken, these are phenomenal, but even when these are working at their best, I still actually prefer these, to tell you the truth. And after I put on my custom EQ setting, they only got better. All in all, I was pleasantly surprised that these things kind of lived up to the hype that the internet put all around them. And they have Bluetooth, so you could like link them to your phone, which is what I did to listen to music, and then also use them on your gaming PC with the normal base station, or maybe hook them to some other gaming device that only has Bluetooth. You do have that option. And again, this battery thing, it is a godsend in my humble opinion. Now, I did pay $312 for the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wirelesses, where I only paid $127 for my G935s. So they are a bit spicier when it comes to price comparison between the two. They're not really even in the same ballpark, to be honest. So as for the internet's claim that the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless headphones are the best overall gaming headset on the market, I would say they're probably pretty close. Now, I haven't tried every other headset on the market. I've tried the G935s, obviously, and we know how that worked out. I would avoid these. They will break. Before that, I had the HyperX Cloud, I think they were called, which is a great headset. They sound pretty good. They're very cheap if you just want a basic headset that's going to sound good and not break the bank. And these, they do sound pretty good when compared to my X4M, which I love. These are pretty darn close. And the features that they have, like the active noise canceling, is awesome. The Bluetooth, the hop swappable battery, which is in and of itself the best thing ever. I think these were a good buy, and I'm glad I decided to pick these up and step away from Logitech's offerings. And if you are thinking about picking up some SteelSeries Nova Pro wirelesses, I think you should go ahead and do it. They are a little pricey, but I think you'll like what you get.